Hello, everybody on YouTube, everybody on my podcast. Welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Today is day 9 of 12 days of biohacking gifts, and I am featuring none other than Sensate. Look at this. If you're watching, look how cute this is. It's like a little pebble. Sensate is one of my favorite biohacking devices. We get into the science during this interview today, but I just want to tell you how I use this. So I use this device for 10 minutes every day, basically during the work week. And you put it right here, like on your vagus nerve, like basically on the top of your chest, and it vibrates and it connects to an app which has different sounds that play. So essentially what it does is it takes you out of fight or flight mode and puts you into rest and digest mode. So it's really good for stress management, anxiety, that type of thing. So Sensate is one of my go-to tools. I'm not the best at meditating, but this kind of gets me there. It kind of supports my mental health as meditating kind of would. So you can win one of these, which everyone loves Sensate, honestly. So go enter my giveaway right now. It's on my Instagram account at biohackingbrittany. The giveaway is live for 7 days. If you've always wanted to try Sensate, this is your opportunity to potentially win it for free. I will also link to Sensate below and in the show notes for those on my podcast. So you can just click right through there, take a look at my discount code as well, which will help you not pay full price, which we all love. And so definitely check it out. And yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow, which will be day 10 out of 12 for my favorite biohacking gifts this holiday season. Okay, welcome to another day of 12 days of biohacking gifts. Today is one of my favorite devices. We are talking about the Sensate device. I have been using this, I think, for about 1.5 years now. And if you go to my Instagram right now, I am giving one of these away as part of the Christmas holiday campaign. So definitely check that out and enter if you haven't yet. But let's dive right into this episode. Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Super excited to be here.
Yes, I am really honored that you took the time to be here with me and to talk about this. And so first and foremost, how on earth did you, how did you come up with the idea of Sensate? Like, what is the origin story?
Absolutely. Well, it is my co-founder, Stefan Schmelik, who is the genius behind the product. So in the mix of things, I'm really the hustler, and he is the wellness integrated healthcare genius. So he is a beautiful being. He has he pioneered integrated healthcare in the UK, which is where we met. I was in the UK for 16 years. And he really found that people were very much struggling to self-regulate, and working with a lot of people with very complex health conditions, because that's really what he's done in his life. It's really helped a lot of people that have been to many, many doctors, ended up in his clinic, and not having a triggered stress response is key to recovery. So him and all the sort of elite practitioners in his clinic came to the conclusion that good vagal nerve tone was very important. But they also noticed that people really struggle to self-regulate, and only a single-digit percentage of people would come back and actually have done the meditation practices and so on between visits. And so my background is technology. I actually programmed many years ago, but I've been mainly in senior management roles, at least for the last 15 plus years, been CEO before, and really spent my entire career in exponential technology fields. So I think I've got like just a DNA and a sort of stands for big trends. And so I was introduced to Stefan by actually 4 people that said to Stefan, like, you should speak with Anna Gudmundson, because he had got to a point where he could see in clinic that this was really working with people, and he needed help to turn this into a company. So I think it's actually quite important. I had no interest in joining as a co-founder, but I do think that vibrational therapies and a lot of vibrational technology, just understanding wave over particle and the whole aspect that everything actually also can be observed as vibration, is a whole new paradigm of technology, quantum computing, but also health. So I think Stefan is a real deal. I knew of his clinic. I thought, great, someone I want to help. He's an amazing person, and I can write executive summaries and things like that in my sleep. So let me help him out on an advisory role perspective. And then really got a chance to work with him in that capacity, getting the first product to market and seeing an uptake and adoption that I had not seen anywhere in the industry. And
Wow.
that's when I realized that this has the possibility to have global impact. So that's when I started to dig into the usage data, and I was arrogant enough with all my knowledge with a product and usage data to say, like, there's something wrong with usage data. It just can't be this high. So just finding a product that people actually keep using that help them reduce their sense of stress and anxiety, has the possibility to have global impact.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so exciting and so cool to hear. I think it's interesting. I just want to take a step back when you talk about self-regulation. I don't know if everybody off the bat knows what that means. So how would you describe that to somebody?
Yeah, I guess a vast majority of us regularly feel stressed, anxious, overwhelmed. And the problem we have is that the brain, very advanced and capable of having thought and worrying about things in the past or the future, sends signals to the vagus nerve, which controls the stress response. And the vagus nerve is very, very old in terms of evolution, and doesn't interpret, is this a thought? Is it real? It just has this like trigger the stress response or not. And the stress response has evolved to run away from animals or fight animals. So it actually does a lot of negative things in the body, and over time breaks down the immune system, stops reproductive functions, the digestive functions. And personally, for me, very importantly, it also disconnects the prefrontal cortex, which is our conscious mind. So my personal driver very much for this on a macro level is that when people have a good vagal nerve tone, we keep the prefrontal cortex connected, which means that we have access to our executive functions, problem solving, empathy, all of that, which actually makes us conscious beings, right? So self-regulation means the ability to get yourself back into that state. So having a good vagal nerve tone might mean that you don't actually trigger it. So there's an event, but you go, hey, I'm not going to react to this. I'm not going to shout at this person. I'm just going to take a few breaths. So that's the benefit of having good vagal nerve tone. It actually triggers. But then if it gets triggered and you trigger the stress response on a regular basis, to have tools that you can use to then get yourself back into a calm and present state.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great explanation. I think a lot of us are on the go so much and juggling so many different things. And even for myself, I know I've been wired and tired for multiple days in a row, and it's exhausting. It really is exhausting. So what did your health journey look like when you were kind of starting to use this product? Were you stressed? How did it impact you?
Yeah, I think I've been on the journey before that. So I think my superpower and my flaw is my drive. I have a lot of energy and a lot of drive, but it's also meant that I've been near burnout twice in the past in my career. And so I had the first really deep, I had a few little hiccups, but then from 2012, something really shifted in my body and I had a very stressful year and I started to get worse and worse health. And then over time, I started to develop a gluten allergy. And I wasn't aware of this. And I went to normal doctors. I kept getting sick more often. A lot of things were happening, but I wasn't recovering. And they wouldn't find anything that was wrong with me. So that went on and really went on a downward spiral. So I have a lot of empathy for people who end up just being able to eat 3 things, or I had no energy. I couldn't drink any alcohol. I had to sleep 10 hours a night. I didn't have a social life. It was really kind of just getting through the day on caffeine, doing another CEO job. But then I actually found a functional medicine doctor, Dr. Mouton, and I hope that he trains many people because we need this kind of knowledge. And in 3 months, I just had my life back. And then I also during this time learned to meditate, learned doing breath work, and had to go on a quite deep journey to understand why I'd got myself into this state. And only to kind of be there almost again in 2017. But yeah, those kind of timeouts where I've really taken the time to go much deeper into my personal development and understanding my own processes, my boundaries, my limitations, why I drive myself over the limit, have changed me a lot. So I feel like I'm a completely different person. And now I use Sensate very much. It's not a use case to support my, startup founder CEO life, which is extremely hectic. And it's for me, I align my values and my passions a lot with what I do. It's where I spend my time, where I spend my money. And to get to work with a product that is helping many thousands of people who are struggling with stress and anxiety is extremely meaningful for me. And so I feel like I have so much more energy flow because of that. But with the sometimes 14, 16-hour work days, I also need to regulate my nervous system. And Sensate is my absolute hack for these days. Because if I have 11 meetings by 1 p.m., wow, I've got so many threads in my brain, so much going on. There's absolutely no way on the planet I can quiet my mind in this little half an hour break I might have. So then I could do a Sensate session and my mind is kind of somewhere in the background and just get this deep relaxation, even though I'm not necessarily in a meditative state. And I think that is very much how Sensate is helping a lot of people, because what Stefan found as well is that if you're feeling really bad and overwhelmed and very stressed, it can be quite hard in that particular moment to meditate or be mindful. Mm-hmm. You might just notice how your heart is racing and your breathing is shallow, which could increase or often does increase anxiety. So I think that Sensate really helps a lot of people at moments where they're not able to meditate, even if they do it other times, or just in general, not yet at a point where they would be developing a regular meditation practice.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Even when I've been super stressed and overworked, to the idea of like sitting quietly for 10 minutes and meditating is not what I want to do. And it's almost like causes more anxiety for me, because then I would just sit there and think about my to-do list. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't think I would really benefit from it unless I really developed a very strong, robust meditation practice, which I haven't, which is why I love using Sensate, because having a physical device that's like this reminder that I can just grab it and let it do its thing, listen to the music that's on the app and just get into the flow. It just works better for me. And I think it does for a lot of people. And I think that's why it's been so successful, is because you're kind of bridging the gap between like having a really intense meditation practice, which not a lot of people do, and this person who's overworked and super busy, and maybe they have kids and like all of these different responsibilities. And it's really important. And even I find like all of my work is online, and I'm not sure how much of your work is online, but I'm sure quite a bit is. Yeah. So I always feel overstimulated as well, like computer, phone, TV, like all the time. And so again, like having something like Sensate really reduces that feeling of feeling like I'm just bombarded every single day.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a little lifeline for a lot of people. And the lives we're living right now, I think the vast majority of the population is overstimulated. So we need this kind of tools. And we're both Stefan and I are meditators, and I'm also a certified alchemy breathwork practitioner.
Oh, nice.
All sorts of other things. So I think Stefan and I really walk the walk. Stefan is also very committed to even I would say like our spiritual growth. But we are, like, for me personally, that is part of my community, but it's actually not who I'm serving. What I'm deeply passionate about is serving that enormous part of the population that doesn't have the privilege to have learned to meditate, don't have other ways to self-regulate. And that is what I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, definitely. So what does your routine look like right now when you use Sensate, like throughout the week or day?
So it is primarily my afternoon hack. So with such long days, both do we actually totally burn our prefrontal cortex with the amount of intensity. Also, like we're fundraising right now, I'm on, like it's very much me output on a lot of the calls, and that can be quite tiring, and also switching between loads of different tasks. So it is very difficult for me to find a peace of calm of my mind to meditate in the afternoons. And if I don't, my prefrontal cortex burns out at a certain point. I just don't have any more focus. So it is just magic for me to do a Sensate session in the afternoon. I just feel like very relaxed coming out of it. And then I do have more focus. So, but my mother is a big Sensate user, and she tries a lot of things. She's actually very critical. So as much as she loves me, she would not be using products just because, but she struggles with waking up very early. And it's been a lifesaver for her, because taking that Sensate these early mornings either puts her back asleep, or at least just gives her that sleep-like relaxation, so that when she is ready to get out of bed, when the sun is up, she feels more rested. And that is another use case, actually. So another favorite use case for me is on flights. So I cannot sleep sitting. And we're still a startup, so I'm flying economy, the long haul flights, which we try to limit for sustainability reasons, but have to do every now and then. I can't sleep at all. So having a Sensate and actually getting that rest, I'm so much more refreshed. I really managed to ace my flights now, like no alcohol, hydrate like crazy, electrolytes, and then like Sensate sessions. And I feel really good. A very light meal. I feel good when I land. So those are my main use cases. Occasionally, if I feel really wired, I'll use it before sleeping. I sleep the same hours. I actually don't have any sleep issues, but I get better sleep quality. So that's another, like a lot of people use it that way as well.
Nice. And when you use it, do you use it for 10 minutes or 15 or kind of how long do you use it for?
Yeah, I often do the shorter sessions, 10 or 20 minutes. If it's like, if I actually am sleep deprived and I want to get like a second round of work in a day, then I'll do a 30-minute session and I will go into deep sleep type of thing and then get more work otherwise. But I very often do the 10 or 20 minutes. And if I'm tired in the afternoon, I'll do them sitting with a lanyard because I don't want to fall asleep. If I'm not sleep deprived, then I'll lay down and just have it laying on the sternum. I've got mine here as well. And so, but like, for example, I like forest and sunrise as my sessions that I do, like sitting up and not going into too deep relaxation.
Nice. I love that. I really do love that. How do you find it I think you're wearing an Oura ring. Are you wearing an Oura ring? Did I see it? Yeah. Okay. So I have one too. How do you find that it like impacts your data or your stats at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can really see. And now that I use the Sensate very often, I actually get the response quite quickly, as in the nervous system response. So we always have a queue when we're at conferences. We go to conferences and then people come and try it. And it's always like a long queue. And we see typically for the first time people try it, that they get into that. We can see the whole breathing and everything shifts into relaxation in the second half of the 10-minute session. Yes. And that was the case for me before as well. But now that I'm using it frequently, it happens like after 30 seconds because my nervous system recognizes it. So it's just like, I can just feel just a shift and I just get belly breathing and I just like relax. So that's after sort of using it a lot. So the Oura ring, that's how I know that I get better sleep quality. And that's how my boyfriend is using it as well. So we do sometimes, sessions before sleeping, and it's really to improve the sleep quality. So we have a lot of sleep quality competitions and it's been helpful actually. I like the Oura. I have the old one and we have certainly changed some habits. But then sometimes I also just do a session to like measure skin temperature, heart rate variability, and all of that heart rate. And I see all the meditative biomarkers using a Sensate session as well.
Yeah, because I was reading some of your blogs and you were talking about how Sensate can positively impact HRV. And is that something that, I guess, like how much do you think it increases HRV, and like what have you seen for yourself?
Yeah, so HRV, and Stefan always talks about this as well. It's quite challenging metric because it's got so many different aspects to it. Like, how did you sleep? Did you eat sugar for lunch? Like, there's so much that fits into what the HRV is going to show. However, a lot of customers talk about how Sensate is improving their HRV. So like there's also a direct relation with just showing that you relaxed from it will also improve your HRV, right? So it's kind of a no-brainer correlation. But then we do have people that are much more in the sort of performance space that really recommend it to other people because they have sophisticated ways to measure their HRV and really, really think that it's the number one product for that.
Nice. That's really cool. And that's so exciting for you to be like recommended as the number one product to improve HRV. Like that is a massive claim, but also it just shows how successful the product is and how many people love it. So if someone's listening to this and they haven't tried Sensate, but they've heard about it and maybe they're super stressed, and let's say they're a parent of a young one and they're working full time, and then they get the Sensate, okay? What do they do now? Do you recommend like daily sessions of 10 minutes or is it individual, or like how do we really increase or decrease the stress response in general, I guess?
Yeah. No, great question. I mean, first how it works, you put the device on your sternum, put on your headphones, choose a session in the app, and it pairs automatically, and the sessions are between 10 and 30 minutes, right? So it's not something you walk around with, it's needs-based. And what's fascinating to me as well with a product background is that our entire usage right now is needs based. Because we haven't done anything. Our app is really basic.
Yeah.
We don't have reminders. We don't have streaks. We don't have any habit creation features at all.
Yeah.
Everyone is using it because they want to use it. So what happens is you hear sound, obviously you feel like a purr, which is the infrasonic frequencies. And I think the reason this, I'm quoting a senior lady at Microsoft, she said it's surprisingly and unsurprisingly effective. Actually, she's the blogger of MedGadget, because she really knows the nervous system. And the point is this part of the body is built to create a resonance field. It's why we om in yoga. So oming in yoga, you're supposed to get to free vibration into the chest area, not up here, like speaking and singing mainly, to tone the vagus nerve. That's what oming is for. So it's really just using bone conduction and tapping into that body's own technology. So I think that's why it's really effective. So there are different, I think we also have actually a whole bunch of doctors and clinicians that are recommending it. It's not a medical device. We make no medical claims. It's just for pure relaxation, but they're finding that it helps their patients, and they would recommend this kind of daily usage. But most people are using it because they feel stressed, because they feel overwhelmed, like when they feel the need. So we don't prescribe like you have to do it at a certain time or anything like that. But daily usage is good because your nervous system starts to get used to it. And then you get like easier and easier relaxation from the product.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'd recommend as well, at least in the beginning. I think it's normal to like ebb and flow as like life kind of ebbs and flows stress wise. Like I find I reach for things like this more often in the week when I'm working. I also work weekends, but like generally weekends are just a bit calmer for, I don't know, maybe not for parents, but for me and people who don't have kids. So I think that's a good way to look at it, is like when you're feeling that sense of things are out of control, it's like take a step back, get grounded with yourself and feel back into your body in 10 minutes. That's a pretty fantastic thing you can do so quickly, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on this podcast this week. I am so excited. And again, if anybody wants to win one of these devices, my little Sensate in its little pouch right here, you can do so on my Instagram, and I will also link everything in the show notes as well.
Thank you. And thank you for an awesome podcast. I'm a big fan. Excited to be on it.
Oh, thank you so much.